What is the difference between a 401k and an IRA? Should I invest in a traditional or a Roth IRA? All the options, how do I decide what's best for me? Well, in this video, we're going to break it all down and clearly define the differences, the benefits, and which retirement plan is best for you. I'm Aaron Baker, co-owner and investment advisor with Wismar Financial, helping families build generational wealth. There are 5 topics that we're going to cover today. First topic is going to be tax advantaged versus taxed accounts. Second, 401k accounts. Third, IRAs. Fourth, what's the best option for you? And then fifth, diversification. So first, tax advantage versus taxed accounts. When you hear those options, you might think, who would choose a taxed account if there's a tax advantage option? Well, it's not a matter of being taxed versus not being taxed. It's a matter of when you are taxed. So let's take a look at an example. So when we're talking about tax advantage accounts, we're talking about accounts like your 401k, and this is also your traditional IRA. Your after-tax account is your, in this case, we're talking about a Roth IRA. So the main difference between these two is when you are taxed. So let's take an example. So for a tax advantage account, let's say you earn $100,000 a year and you contribute 6% of your income to your retirement account. That means that at the end of the year, your taxable income is going to be reduced by the $6,000. So it is going to be $94,000 that you are going to owe to the IRS. That is the tax advantage. You've reduced your taxable income by $6,000. So in the case of an after-tax account, like a Roth IRA, so in the same example, let's say you earn the same amount, $100,000 a year, you can contribute the same $6,000 to your Roth IRA. Well, you haven't reduced your taxable income at all because this is an after-tax account. So in this case, where you were taxed at this rate, $94,000, with a Roth IRA contribution, although you contribute $6,000 to the account, just like you did a tax advantage account, you're still going to be taxed at your $100,000 income. So what happens when you go to make withdrawals in retirement? Well, in a tax advantage account, since you got the advantage of reducing your taxable income by this contribution, when you take withdrawals out of this type of account, you will then owe ordinary income taxes for your tax advantage account. In the case of a Roth IRA, well, you already paid your taxes. So all the withdrawals that you make from a Roth IRA account, you will be able to withdraw tax-free. So now let's talk about 401k plans. A 401k is an employer-sponsored retirement plan. So you have to be an employee of a company that offers one to be able to participate. There are solo 401k options for people who are self-employed, but we will cover that more in another video. So first off, I want to talk about the contribution limits. So in 2025, if you are under 50, you can contribute up to $23,000 to your 401k plan. If you are 50 or older, you can contribute up to $30,500 a year. Now, the IRS reviews and can increase these contribution limits each year based on inflation. If they do, they will typically increase these amounts by around $500 increments. Next up, I want to talk about the employer match. So many companies match contributions up to a certain point, which is essentially free money and is definitely something you want to take full advantage of. A common employer match is something like 100% of your contribution up to 3% of your pay. So what that looks like is if you make $100,000 a year and contribute 3% or $3,000 to your plan, your employer will match that with an additional $3,000 added to your retirement account. That's $3,000 of free money. Fun fact, if you're a big nerd like me and you have wondered why it's called a 401k plan, well, it's really as simple as 401 is the section of the tax code about retirement savings plans, and K is just the paragraph that talks about employees being able to make deferred contributions. So I know, it's a kind of a phoned-in name. Now, the tax advantages of a 401k account, the contributions reduce your taxable income today, although for investment options, there are limitations. So you're usually limited to a menu of a select group of mutual funds or ETFs that are chosen by the plan. Sometimes there's anywhere from 10 to 12 options. So you don't have access to the full market like you would in an IRA. And then there's withdrawing your funds. So generally, you shouldn't plan on withdrawing the money in any retirement account before the age of 59 and a half. If you do, you will pay a 10% penalty and all the income taxes that are due. Now, there are some plans that allow loans or hardship withdrawals, but those decisions should be considered very carefully with the help of a financial planner, because withdrawing money from a retirement account can set you back years in your financial retirement planning when there might be better options. Now, let's talk about IRAs. So IRAs are individual retirement accounts that are not tied to an employer. Now, there are two types of IRAs. You have your traditional IRA and you have your Roth IRA. A traditional IRA is your tax advantaged account with contributions lowering your taxable income, but withdrawals in retirement being taxed as income. Then there's the Roth IRA, where contributions are made after tax, but the withdrawals in retirement are tax-free. So anyone with earned income qualifies and can contribute to an IRA. Contribution limits are $7,000 a year for both accounts, with an additional $1,000 catch-up if you are 50 or older. Now, there are income-based cutoffs where if as an individual you earn over $161,000 a year, you cannot contribute directly to a Roth IRA. Now, you can always contribute to a traditional IRA, but the tax advantages go away if you're eligible for an employer 401k plan and make over $87,000 a year as an individual. Now, there are some strategies to work around some of these limitations, one of them being a backdoor Roth conversion, which we will cover more in another video. So the great thing about IRAs are the investment options. Unlike the limitations with a 401k plan, when you have a select amount of options for your investments, with IRAs, you have access, almost unlimited access to all stocks, bonds, ETFs, mutual funds, real estate, all through either self-directed or managed IRA accounts. And finally, for withdrawals, traditional IRAs, they have the same strict penalties as 401ks, with the 10% penalty and required taxes being owed, while Roth contributions, not the earnings, Roth contributions can be withdrawn anytime without penalty. The earnings, you would pay ordinary income tax at the time of withdrawals. So now it comes down to what is the best option. Well, there's not a perfect plan that fits everyone. So we're going to go through a few decision-making steps. So the first one is, does your employer offer a 401k plan with a match? If they do, you definitely want to start with contributing to that plan up to the amount of the match. That's free money. Next, you need to consider what your tax bracket is today versus what you expect your tax bracket to be when you're going to need to start accessing the funds from your retirement account. Now, this part is not easy because obviously no one can tell the future, which is why diversification, our fifth step, is very, very important. But let's take an example. If you're in your 20s and you earn under $100,000, you're most likely in the 22% tax bracket. Now, it's not unreasonable to assume that your career and income will grow over the years, and by the time you're near retirement, you'll be making, let's say, over $200,000 a year, which will put you in the 32% tax bracket. In this case, it would be wise for a younger person to contribute to a Roth or an after-tax account to benefit from paying 10% less in taxes. Now, in this example, though, this is someone withdrawing from their retirement account while they're still working. And, a lot of people plan on not touching their retirement account until they're already retired. And their income is extremely low or none. They might even be in the 12% tax bracket. In this case, it would make sense to contribute to a 401k or a traditional IRA to defer the tax payments until retirement when your income tax bracket is going to be much lower. Now, for those higher income earners that can't contribute to a Roth IRA, you definitely want to max out any employer 401k plan, especially if there's a match. Then start contributing to a traditional IRA to have more diversification in investment options and allow you, with the combination of both accounts, to increase your overall tax-deferred contributions for a year up to $30,000. And our last section is about diversification of accounts. Simply put, you don't have to choose just one. Many people diversify across 401ks, IRAs, and even taxable brokerage accounts. This strategy gives you multiple buckets to pull from in retirement, allowing more control over your taxes and your cash flow. Now, these types of decisions is where working with a company like Wismar Financial can be extremely helpful. If you found this video helpful, we'd really appreciate a like and subscribe. It'll help us build this channel and reach more people with this very important information. And please stay connected with us. Links to our website and our social are in the description below, and we'll see you next time.